And welcome to the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. Back again on a lovely Friday morning, but it's just me and Jim. I'm Kai, by the way. Hello. Hi, how are you? Episode 425, the second week of college basketball in the books. Jim decided to take a wild vacation to the exotic world of St. Louis, Missouri, and didn't bother to tell me or Jim before he left.
Haha, indeed. Yes, Kai, I went there 2 weeks ago and we
Yes.
shuffled the schedule around, had a Thursday record to make it work. But our Matt, he is Yoshi Matt today, as noted in the chat. No Matthias. He's on a real load management schedule, and it's only a 30 game season. I think we should ramp him up a little bit, Kai. I expect more from our guy.
Yeah, now Matt has a kid, and neither of us do, so
Fair.
that's not a big deal, though. I don't think that's a big deal.
It's just a
It's
child.
just a kid, okay? She's almost one. I mean, come on.
Yeah, but
How
she can
hard can it be?
basically like make her own breakfast at this point, right?
Yeah, she's self-sustainable. Get a job. Get a job, Matt's child.
Right, seriously. The workforce is waiting.
Welcome to the podcast about college basketball. We will be talking about that today. A standard rundown for those that know the podcast. If you don't know, we're going to hit some quick news and notes in Roots Roundup. We're going to go through a section called We Saw That, which tells you basically interesting things that we saw over the past week in college basketball. And then we're doing some three-man thoughts, which is a little bit more free flow. What do we want to talk about sort of section. Jim and I have come up with 3 thoughts each. We'll hit some game previews for tomorrow, which is Saturday and Sunday. Of course, we have a best bet show, though, tomorrow on Saturday, 10 a.m. Central. Get excited. Best bets show of the season. Matthew will be joining that, confirmed. And then, of course, we'll have our review section at the end of the show. That's the rundown. We're very excited. It's mid-November. That's crazy to me. Time is flying by. Absolutely nuts. Personal corner, Jim and I went to a wedding last weekend in Door County, Wisconsin. Lovely. Jim, a little bit icy getting home. I was slipping and sliding on the way out.
Yeah, Sunday drive was a little bit sketchy. My rental car was tiny. I felt like
Yes.
I was in a go-kart on one of those slippery tracks in Mario Kart. That was a little tense for the first hour, but made it back. Had a great time. Shout out to Aaron and Allie. Incredible time up there. Kai, I had somebody DM me from a picture I posted. It was like, "Oh, is that so and so venue?" I was like, "How on earth do you know that?"
Specific.
And it's somebody that's getting married at the same venue
Oh,
next year. So,
very nice. Well, lovely
exciting
venue.
stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that was good. But we also watched a lot of ball this week, Kai. I
Did.
especially dialed in last night to the Purdue Bama game. Have some thoughts there, but we'll get to all that, and we saw that in three man thoughts.
Absolutely. That's Jim and me, and then Matt is Matt. Oh, Matt. Uh, Basket Under Review. Please join before we get started. BasketUnderReview.com. It is the conglomerate that we are now a part of. We have a Discord with Trilly Donovan. We have a few channels in there. We talk about betting. We talk about college basketball in general. There's millions of channels in there for whatever you like related to college basketball, even a general channel where you just talk about whatever. That is only part of what you get if you join Basket Under Review. There's also tons and tons of articles coming out every single day from people like Will Warren, Jordan Majeski, Brian Ralph. Eamon Brennan has the flagship BUR podcast, or Burp podcast, we like to call it. There's scout team videos with Kevin Sweet and Eric Fawcett. There's tons of other stuff. It's a really, really a great website, community, Discord. Anyways, the link is in the description to this video and the podcast, basketunderreview.com. Join. Okay, that's my spiel. Let's get into the show today. Jim, take us away with some Roots Roundup.
Yes, Roots Roundup, our little news and notes circle where we discuss what's happened in the last week, typically like big storylines off the court. But before we get to that, we got to give a shout out to CBB Analytics, our loyal sponsor, a fantastic resource during the college hoop season. They really guided our previews coming through the year. Then, even as the season starts, it's a great place to check on certain statistical anomalies to start the season, or even just look back like, dang, who is this guy that's leading the entire country in scoring? Kai, do you know who it is right now?
Leading country in scoring. Toppin?
Technically, yes. He's played two. He's
Okay.
only played 2 games,
Phew.
but for if you do like the minimum 3 games or whatever, Jaden Booth of Samford a Division two
Yeah.
transfer. So you want to log in, see, dang, who is this guy? You get on CVB Analytics, you look at his shot chart from last year, his splits, and you just learn all about a guy that's suddenly sitting atop a massive statistical category in the country. I have gone back to his stuff. I looked at it in the preseason when I wrote the Sanford preview and was like, oh, he'll be pretty good for them. And now, holy cow, he is leading the country in scoring. But CBB Analytics is a great place to find that kind of data, to look back, to kind of look ahead. There's some a little bit of forward-looking stuff in there as well. But overall, incredible statistical website. CBBanalytics.com. Use promo code WEAVE for $40 off your first month. That is extremely helpful. So we highly recommend that. It also tells Nick that you came from the weave and it continues to bear fruit in this fantastic relationship that we have. There is no greater alignment between a sponsor than us and CBB Analytics, except for maybe Home Field, and we'll talk about them later. But that is cbbanalytics.com, promo code WEAVE. All right, Kyle, let's get into the news and notes, the roundup section. No key headlines, no coaching news bits. We do have one injury to discuss. North Carolina's Seth Trimble broke his forearm in some sort of weight room related debacle. I didn't read all of the details, but not great considering he had an awesome game against Kansas. Is a key part of that rotation. They're really young in the backcourt now. Radford was able to sort of hang around with them in the game following this. But Trimble was kind of on that breakout track, the post-hype breakout after last year. He got the ankle injury and didn't look as sharp. Where does this, how does this affect your outlook on Carolina?
I think significantly, Jim. For me, first of all, it was like the lat pull down machine or something fell on top of him and like pinned him, and they had to like get people to get it off him. I believe is the story. That's crazy. This is I assume this is North Carolina's weight room. Uh, that's got to be state of the art. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, I think it affects North Carolina's outlook quite a bit because I was pretty high on Trimble coming into the year, ranked him very highly in our preseason player rankings. Still very much in the tournament picture. I don't think it's going to take them out of that because Caleb Wilson has looked incredible throughout the early going. He's their freshman phenom, and they still have plenty of talent on the roster. But it hurts. It hurts their ceiling.
Yeah, averaging almost 15 a game in the first two games, had 17, 8 rebounds and 3 assists against Kansas. He's really good, but Kai, this just means it's time for Luka Bogovac, whose last name sounds like a vacuum company to me.
Yes.
That's the vibe I get, like him versus Dyson. This is the European model coming in to take over market share in the United States. Buy your Bogovac today.
You
He
remember
should get a
the
brand deal with
you remember the 8-pound Oric vacuum
that
cleaner?
a vacuum. I don't,
There's an
but
old man. He held up the vacuum cleaner with one finger in the commercials. The Oric.
could 8 pounds with one finger is still pretty solid, right?
Yeah, he
I'm
was
impressed
really
by that.
well. He was old, but great
Okay,
shape.
well,
Yeah.
he was tough. He and the Six Flags guy that bounces around. They're just tireless energy despite their age. Okay, so that's the injury news. One suspension pending that we might see. It will impact one of the games we're going to preview tomorrow. BYU's Kennard Davis got arrested for a DUI last night. Even more severe at a school with the honor code that BYU does. Kai, I can't imagine this is going to be let off easily. Perhaps there will be some like appeal period or innocent until proven guilty, etc. But notable, he started the first two games before sitting out with what seemed like kind of a load management sore Achilles against Holy Cross, or no, not Holy Cross, Delaware. Didn't play in that game, but is a key piece for them. Kind of their best wing defender because it's not Demansa and it's not Richie Saunders and it's not Rob Wright. So they need him. Might not have him against UConn. Don't do this. Don't drive under the influence, folks.
Yeah, there's speculation in the Almighty Discord in the BYU or a BYU person said it might not be alcohol that he was imbibing or even drugs. It might be like, I don't know, Dramamine or something like that, but I don't know. That's all speculation. We're not a news source. Do not take that as fact, but it is fun to get the inside what opinions or leanings from the people that are closer to the program. However,
Another bonus of the Discord, Kai.
yes.
Yeah.
However, still probably not a good situation. He still got charged, I think, with the DUI, so it's not going to be good for him. We'll see what happens.
Yep. Hey, they suspended their second best player the chance at a Final Four because he had sex. So I can't imagine they're gonna let this one slide super easily.
Oh
All
my God.
right. That is a Brandon Davies reference from the Jimmer Fredette era for those uninitiated with that particular storyline. All right, other random news and notes, Kai. I just wanted to ask you because it was a hot button topic on Monday in the college basketball world. What did you think of Purdue dropping from first to second despite not losing a basketball game as the preseason number one team?
It's interesting, Jim. I think as analytic people, we actually support this. I was thinking in my head, like, okay, they might not be the best team. However, from an AP poll purist perspective, if you're one of those guys, which I do not ascribe to the AP poll, that's not really how it works. I think you're in your spot till you lose or someone jumps you because they have a great win. I don't know. Or if you're number one 3 games into the year, I guess, Jim, I disagree with it from an AP poll perspective. I understand it from an analytics perspective.
Yeah, I just the issue I had with it was like, why are we putting Houston up there when they were
They didn't look good either.
unconvincing
Yeah,
against Lehigh and Towson?
yeah,
Now, Purdue got dropped because they only beat Oakland by 10, and Houston just beat Oakland by 33.
okay,
So justice for the voters, but then justice for the voters was taken away by Purdue winning on the road at Alabama. And oh, I should mention Trey Kaufman-Renn was arguably the best player in that game. He was the Ken Pom MVP, and he didn't play in the first 2 games of the season. So maybe don't punish the team that's playing without an All-American. Wait till they play a tough competition and see how he looks, because he looked incredible. We'll discuss that shortly. But
yeah.
yeah, I thought it was goofy. It was weird to like crown Houston when they had done nothing worthy of being crowned at that point.
As we've said before, the AP poll is hot garbage. Most people don't even watch college basketball that vote in the AP poll. That's a fact,
Yes,
by the way.
especially during football season. Most of
Yes.
them are just like, oh crap, I finished filing my Oregon story.
Yeah.
Or I finished filing my UTSA football story. I better submit a ballot here. So,
Yeah. Tough.
okay. That's one of the rare times the AP poll will get discussed on the Three Man Weave College Basketball Podcast. That's it for the roundup, Kai. We can get into we saw that where it's a little bit of a longer section, but we want to make sure we give the proper shout outs to some of the bigger storylines of the first week.
Love it. Oh, it's me. I'm hosting it.
Yeah,
Okay,
you are.
let's get into it. Headliners. Yes, Louisville beat Kentucky. Jim, this game was super fun. Tons of points as expected. Back and forth. Louisville's awesome. I'm going to start with that. Kentucky, Owe struggling, but I still think this team is Final Four good. And fun fact, they were actually number one in KenPom heading into this game. I didn't realize they snuck up there. Since then, have backed down after the loss.
Yeah, a game of absolute runs in this one. Like if you took Louisville early or like pregame, then like, oh, they're up 20, bet on Kentucky to make a run back. They cut it down to 4 with 4 minutes left, basically 3 minutes left. A little bit back and forth there. And then the final minute, Louisville couldn't hit a free throw. Kentucky couldn't take advantage of that. It was like a very futile final minute for two really good offenses that had performed well all game. But yeah, I think both these teams are fantastic. The guard play for Louisville is as advertised. Mikel Brown Jr. was probably the best player on the court in this game. He was way better going to the rim than I thought he was going to be. He had a couple and ones, a couple tough finishes. I knew he was going to bomb away from deep this season, but that was what I was most impressed by out of this game. I mean, McNeely barely even shot the ball and was still an impact. Conwell's great. And then on the Kentucky side, yeah, you'd love to have Quaintance out there. And I think he does make a difference on Louisville's 62% 2-point shooting. But still some promising signs for Kentucky. Jalen Lowe looked pretty solid. Did a couple big shots, had some great passes early in the game, threw a couple alley-oops that, probably pretty fun for him coming over from Pitt to be a part of that. Aberdeen had a huge game, looked sort of worth his money, but I kind of didn't leave this thinking any worse or better from either team. It's just like, all right, two awesome teams played a tough game. The home team won a narrow result. That kind of checks out.
Yeah, Aberdeen. I didn't know he really had that in his bag, as the kids say. I know you had a couple big games for Florida, but that's great sign, I guess, if you're a Kentucky fan. My $2 million controversial transfer is playing well. Ali Khalifa, Jim. Just real quick shout out. Every time he's on the floor, good things happen. He is just a great piece. He only played 15 minutes. I'm looking back now. His O rating is 154. Yeah, he played a perfect game. He didn't miss. He had 4 assists. He had 3 steals. The guy
He
just
did miss
makes.
from three. He
Oh,
did
he
miss
did
from
miss from
three.
3. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
He makes things happen, and he's so in control and calm, and he's a great passer. Louisville's going to love him this season. He sat out last year.
Yeah, I in the Burr my guys article in the preseason at Basket Review. He's one of my five my guys. I just love watching him play. I didn't know if he was going to play enough this season with Sananda Farouk coming in from Germany, but you give him 15 to 20 minutes a game, he's going to make a positive impact every time. It might not show up like as the greatest like per minute stats, but his passing just he passes guys open. Like they think they're just going through a routine back cut and suddenly they're making a layup because he is such a fantastic passer. The Egyptian magician, says Lante in the
Ooh,
chat. I love that. Gonna really ride with that. That is a perfect nickname. But yeah, fun game. Two good teams. We'll move on.
yes.
Alabama.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, that's right. You're hosting. We got
It's
this.
a
We are
weird
locked in.
cadence. It's a weird cadence.
Yeah.
Yeah, Alabama goes to Madison Square Garden, absolutely controls St. John's from basically start to finish, and then the game last night against Purdue, such high level basketball. It was awesome. Alabama, like, if you took the score away, I think you would have thought Alabama was crushing Purdue, in my opinion. Just the way they scored, which was flash, another three, another three, another three, versus Purdue, which was kind of grind you down, mid range, take it in the post, TKR, Braden Smith doing whatever Braden Smith does. And Purdue came on top. Purdue won this game. They looked impressive. They're just rock solid to Alabama's flash and flare. We had Jimmy Dykes in the mic, of course. There's always some weird comments there. Alabama's 3-point rate, Jim, surprisingly not even top 20 right now. They shot 44 threes against Purdue. They shot 35 threes against St. John's. Just who they are, man. They grip it and they rip it. They're fun to watch. Defense, maybe a little optional at this point.
Yeah, they really struggled in the paint. They gave up 19 offensive rebounds. Kaufman Wren was just an animal. Like
Mhm.
first came out, clearly had like just maybe an extra pep in his step, not having to labor through a couple of bye games. But he was great as a passer. Like when they Alabama does not like to double the post. They prefer you just take post shots because they think they're inefficient. But he is such a good finisher with that right hook. They sent a couple doubles. He found Lawyer for a reverse layup. He hit Clough for a dunk, maybe Jacobson for a dunk once. Like just picking them apart. Smith didn't have a great passing game because they forced him to be a scorer, and he had 29 points.
Yeah.
Like they just those guys step up into a role. Purdue is so veteran, so experienced. They weren't rattled by the kind of early onslaught of threes that Alabama was punching them with. Yeah, it was a really cool like contrast in shot chart where like
Yeah.
one team was taking all threes and rim, and Purdue was like, yeah, we'll take pull up elbow jumpers, we'll take floaters and half hooks in the lane, and they just kind of slowly wore down Alabama and controlled it late with that final 7-0 run.
Two notes. Nate Oates after the game said their 5'10" point guard had 7 rebounds. Our front court had 6. And then and then second note, Omer Meyer is going to be a star in the future. I hope he sticks around for another year. He's legit.
Yeah, he had a couple like where he got the ball poked away,
Couple
just I think just
gaffes.
freshman.
Yeah.
But man, like he looks so comfortable taking that Braden Smith elbow pull up.
Yeah, it's so easy. His shot looks just effortless. Defensively, maybe a little bit of work also, but he's getting there. He'll get there.
Yeah,
Uh,
he had at the end of the first half, he had a really good possession and was like
mhm,
super fired up. I remember that, but
yeah,
yeah,
clear.
still work to come there.
UNC handled Kansas in Chapel Hill. Jim, I admittedly didn't watch this game very much. So if you have any notes on this one, they smoked them. Kansas, I did see one of their beat writers, 15-14 in their last 29 games. Kansas basketball. I had to look that up to
Uh-oh.
see that was true. That's actually true, which is nuts. There's obviously a lot of context in there. Big 12's pretty good, but still interesting.
Yeah, my notes on this, I think it was Boynton in the Discord that mentioned this, but like Badunga playing 36 minutes, Vasar playing 38. Like pretty cool to see both coaches really ride those guys after last year, Badunga was kind of backing up Dickinson. What is his role? Vasar was in that platoon at Arizona. Now those guys are like full go, and Badunga didn't have a great game. Vasar had 20 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. Like he's a legit star. I know Arizona fans were like not super bummed to lose him, and their front court is just fine. But he's really good. We ranked him highly in our top 100, and I think that ended up looking justified. And then Caleb Wilson, I just overlooked him. I got to say, like preseason rating stuff, I thought he looked like he needed a little more time, but suddenly he is like their offensive engine, and they're running everything through him because they don't have like a true point guard, and it looks really good. So he might fuel them to being a little better than I expected.
He's great. Darren Peterson is fully as advertised. He missed last game for Kansas, but he's averaging like 22 points a game. He's incredible if you get to watch him. Indiana just absolutely destroyed Marquette, and they're off to a rip-roaring start in the three-point categories. I don't think they're going to shoot 60% or whatever they're shooting from three right now. They're shooting 47.5, but against Marquette, they shot 50%. Lamar Wilkerson, Jim, he is an awesome, awesome shooter. He will not shoot 50, 60% all year, but man, he is money from deep. DeVries looks great, of course. Conway looks comfortable. He destroyed Milwaukee. When they face a real front court that can punish their lack of size, it might hurt them a little bit. Man, if they're like Louisville style electricity on offense, they're going to be top 20, top 25 all year.
Yeah, and Alexis has looked kind of solid
Yep.
in the paint, so at least like giving them that sort of presence. Man, it's just got to be such a new era for an Indiana fan. Like they're reigning in threes, they're 120th in three-point attempt rate. They never ranked higher than 291st in the last 6 years. And really the Archie and Mike Woodson era never ranked in the top 250. It's like, oh my God, we really are. Like people told us in the preseason we'd be a different team, but here we are. It's actually real. We put up 100 on a Big East team in Marquette, and look at this offense go. I think it's going to be a top 20 offense all year.
There's a Redditor that pointed out number of times Indiana basketball has hit 14 threes in a game. Under Woodson, 0 times in 4 years. Under Miller, 0 times in 4 years. Under DeVries, 2 times in 3 games. Good start.
That is a fantastic statistic. It reminds me of like I just saw this with Villanova. I think they made 16 threes last time out. They had 28 assists. They cracked 20 assists once in the 3 years of Kyle Neptune.
Wow.
And they already have
Yeah.
a 28 assist game. It's just a different world when you have a coach who knows what he's doing on the sideline.
Yeah.
Oh, did you see Trilly say we might have head coach Mike Woodson coming again soon?
Is that right? Wow.
He's potentially the interim hire for the Sacramento Kings if they go in a different direction. That is the most fail upwards. Failing upwards. I don't get it either.
Every pro sports team is an idiot. I don't get it. It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, retread. They coached before, right? Yeah, but they're bad. Just give some
Yeah,
else a
yeah.
chance.
Have a little desire. You mustn't be afraid to dream a little bit, darling,
Oh
to
my
quote
gosh.
Inception.
Yes, very good. Michigan Wake Forest. I watched this game. Michigan looked incredible to start, unstoppable, and then Wake Forest, man, scrappy. I have a few thoughts here. Ademara, number one, is a stud. Ademara is a game changer. I think when he was on the floor, Michigan was like plus 15 or something like that, like score wise. And when he went off the floor, it was a different game.
He played 37 minutes too.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't realize he played that much. He blocks everything. He affects everything. Even if he's near you, and Wake was 38% from two, you're going to miss because he's so freaking long. He's 7'3". And he can dunk without jumping. It's nuts. Wake Forest, though, Jim, Juke Harris, I am incredibly impressed with. That guy's going to explode this season. He's a stud. Nate Calmes didn't shoot that well, but I'm still impressed by his potential this season. Wake's scrappy. They got some athletes. They have a lot of positional size, but unfortunately they lost the game. Michigan eked it out in overtime. Yax Lindeborg, not quite maybe All-American level what we expected yet, Jim, but if you watch him play, the guy is really, really good.
Yeah, he had the wrist thing. I mean, he still had, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. It just was kind of resorted to firing threes, playing next to Mata, which you don't want to see. And like Dusty's still trying to play all 3 of those bigs together. So Mata's at Yax is at the 3, and it's odd. He might still be dealing with the wrist injury that kept him out of at least one exhibition, and he didn't start their season opener. So maybe not fully up to speed yet, but yeah, Mata just affects everything as you mentioned. Like if anybody gets near the basket, they just turn around because they're like, "What am I doing here? There's no point." The game-winning shot, Calmes had to throw like through the rafters because Mata was coming at him,
Yeah.
and just wasn't able to lay it in. Miles Colvin had like 2 or 3 oh my God plays in this game.
He's athletic.
Yeah, it's just like I know Purdue won last night, but the thing they were starved for was wing athleticism, and he would have continued to be a good fit there, I think, but it just didn't work out. But yeah, I was impressed by Wake's savvy. The first half when they had like 17 fouls, I was like, well, they're just going to get bludgeoned to death, and they hung around to their credit.
They did indeed. Finally, of the headliners, Michigan State taking out Arkansas. I try to tell you, people out there, Michigan State's not going anywhere. Boom, they're good. They don't do it pretty. They grab 19 offensive rebounds. They just bludgeon Arkansas inside. That's going to be the recipe. I mean, they're 1 for 14 from three and still won this game. Izzo versus Calipari. Yeah, I'll take Izzo in that matchup. And Cam
Yeah,
Ward, freshman from Michigan State, exploded. 18 points
yeah,
off the bench in this game.
huge one. Like they kind of need that because you don't sometimes know where the scoring is going to come from with them other than putbacks. But they've been unbelievable on the offensive glass in every single game so far. Eighth in the country in offensive rebound rate. If they finish number one in the country at the end of the year, I will have no surprise. It's just that kind of team structure and what they need to do. I mean, they can't shoot. They're sitting at 21% for the year, and if they shoot 29% from three for the season, I won't be shocked at all. They're just kind of hoping Tang and Fort make some shots. I think they're going to struggle as like a big favorite. They're 0-2 against the spread in those situations, but pitted against another athletic team that wants to win with physicality, like good luck.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be more physical than you. And when Cohen Carr's in the team, you probably are going to be a little bit more athletic too. So they were able to take down the Hoggy Hogs, despite Darius Acuff with a nice road debut.
Poor Trayvon Brazil, 3 points, 2 boards, 4 fouls. Oh,
Yeah,
the
he got hurt
28-year-old.
too.
Oh, he got hurt.
Yeah,
Sorry, he's not 28, but he is really old. He's still in college. Okay, that's the headliners. Yes, thank you for putting this one on the sheet here, Jim. We saw that North Texas pulled a Chris Webber against Oregon State. They also just completely collapsed and blew the game. They were up by 7 with 2 minutes left, and then they cut the lead to the game was tied actually in
well, Oregon State tied it with like 2 seconds left with two free throws.
And North Texas called a timeout at half court. That's a technical. Oregon State shoots 2 free throws, wins the game. Just brutal way to
I was following this on like a game cast. I didn't have a bet on it or anything. I was just curious about it because I kind of think both teams are undervalued. And they just had a guy take 4 free throws in a row. And I was like, I can't figure out why. And then it turned out, as you mentioned, it was the Chris Webber timeout without a timeout. And yeah, just a brutal way to collapse. They were up 7 with 2 minutes remaining and didn't score another point. That's bad. The Mean Green. Oof.
I have a take. It should not be a technical to call a timeout without a timeout. It should be a turnover.
I kind of like that, Kai.
Why
like that.
Why award the other team 2 free throws? I never agreed with it.
The turnover's fun. Give the other team the
Yeah.
ball like in a tie game like that. Okay, go make a shot to win rather than actual free throws. I'm on board.
Okay.
And I think Chris Webber is too.
Yeah, me too. Okay, crazy stat lines. We always pick out a few here. Yeah, JT Toppin, we mentioned a little bit. He's averaging 33, 12.5, 3.5, 3 steals, and 2 blocks across 2 games. He's very, very good. Neo Avdalis for Virginia Tech had 33, 6, and 5 against Providence in overtime. That feels like 6 years ago. That was last week.
Yeah, but that's kind of that he like kind of grabbed enough headlines where people are like, "Oh my God!" And he's got the name like the Neo.
Yeah,
John Fanto was calling the game like just losing his mind every time he hit shots, and like to the point that we've got John Rothstein doing a Neo Abdallah watch. So you got to mention a guy that's getting that kind of hype, and he wasn't that great in their first game against like Charleston Southern or whoever it was, but he's really talented and fun to watch.
Speaking of Charleston Southern, Jim, Bryson Blaine had 42, 11, and 8 against the corpse that is the Citadel. So congratulations, Bryson. Bryson Blaine. I actually wrote the Charleston Southern preview, and I can't even remember where Blaine's from. If he was a JUCO guy or a D2 guy. I totally forgot. That's on me.
Well, this is a huge, vicious local rivalry, Kai. Charleston Southern and the Citadel.
Yeah.
My father spent a winter in Charleston once and went to this game at the Citadel, and he was one of like 11 fans on the television screen.
Yeah, they pack it.
So
they pack it.
Packed house. Yeah.
And then finally, Vermont's TJ Long. He is one of their 2 best players. They have 2 TJs, and that's basically it this season. Through the early games, he had 40, 13, 3 and 2, and 2 overtime win against Brown. Vermont, shaky against non-D1 competition so far, but hey, they're sitting undefeated. Perhaps they get it going soon.
Yeah, and Brown, I think down 2 starters early in the year, so that also not like an overly encouraging result. And the one thing I will also say, their Spanish point guard has been disappointing.
Lucas Mari, I believe.
Yes, who they paid more than an America East team typically pays for a player.
Yikes.
Kai, can I mention one last stat line?
You may.
Jake Davis of Illinois almost had a 15 trillion against Texas Tech. Shout out to Mark Titus and the inventor of the trillion. But yeah, played 15 minutes. The only stat he recorded was one defensive rebound.
Yeah,
No shots, assists, turnovers, fouls, blocks, steals. Just the ultimate cardio performance from Mr. Davis. Um, yeah, they should be playing Stojakovic like 35 minutes a game once he's healthy.
Jim, we don't do prop bets. That's not really our thing. But when people talk about prop bets in the Discord, one guy mentioned Jake Davis unders because he was priced ridiculously. That's the one time I've been really jealous of a prop bet. The Jake Davis unders. Man, what a great call by that guy.
Yes, yes, very good call.
Okay, bad loss section to round us out, and we saw that. Yeah, Xavier needs to be called out. I have them in the next section as well. Santa Clara is a good basketball team, but they got absolutely smoked, and they barely snuck by Marist and Lemoyne. I think they might be the worst team in the Big East, Jim. I know that's
Y-
going on a limb here, but I think they might be.
Yeah, I've got kind of a thought about adjacent to them as well,
Good.
so I'll holster
Two more
takes.
thoughts on
But
them coming.
yeah, Musketeers fans are counting down the days to 2026, 27 already.
Yeah. Boston College lost at home to Central Connecticut. Again, not a horrible team, but Boston College are 20-point favorites, and they seem to lose a bye game every single year. It is ridiculous. I think, who was it? Someone on Twitter was just like, I know we have no NIL, but surely we have enough NIL to beat like like a low major or something like that. He phrased it very funnily to me.
Yeah, they lost at
Yeah,
home to Dartmouth last year.
yeah,
The
not
previous
good.
season, it wasn't quite as bad, but they lost at home to Maine 3 years ago.
Mhm.
It's New Hampshire at home 3 years ago. It's like, ugh.
Very bad, very bad. DePaul got smoked by Buffalo at home. That's very strange. Very strange to me.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know what to make of Buffalo. They seem like at least a little
Solid.
bit competent this year. They got Daniel Freitag, the Wisconsin transfer, who's been really good the last two games, like kind of top 100-ish guy. But yeah, DePaul 53 points against the Buffalo defense. Ugh, it's concerning. I saw Nehemiah Benson, NJ Benson has like a wrist injury and he's playing through it. And a DePaul
That
account, I think it was
matters.
Blue Demon Degenerate, was like, we have the most wrist injuries of any program. Like every year we have three guys out with a wrist. He's like, what are we doing in the weight room? That's a problem.
I do
Figure that out.
wrist curls. Wrist curls.
Wrist curls. Yes,
Super
there you
jack
go.
guys at the gym for some reason doing wrist curls. Hey, maybe there's a reason. UT Martin. We must talk about the Skyhawks. We must. It was on my list of things to talk about. I didn't put them in a thought, but we're talking about them right now. They beat Bradley outright. They beat UNLV outright. UT Martin is good. They have a bunch of international guys. Matt, of course, wrote this preview, so he can't give us his in-depth thoughts. But yeah, pay attention to UT Martin in the Ohio Valley.
Yeah, I believe they have players from 11 different countries on the
Yeah,
team, five foreign starters. They were 15-point dogs in both of these games, at least. I think 17 points at UNLV, 15 at Bradley. And man, if you don't know, you already know. We got to find out, Kai. Jeremy Schulman doing better than I think his cousin John at Central Arkansas.
yeah.
Yeah, so he's maybe announcing himself to the world. Kai, they play at Florida State on Tuesday. That is one to monitor, just given that Florida State is kind of a high variance style with a lot of three-pointers, and they just came up short against Florida. I could see maybe a lesser effort coming against UT Martin.
Boy, the free throws, Jim, for this team, holy cow. They rank sixth in free throw attempt rate on offense. They rank 361st in free throw attempt rate allowed on defense. The games have not been fun to watch, I don't think.
No, yeah, they
Free throw fest.
37 free throws for Bradley. In the UNLV game, the teams combined to take 85 free
Get
throws.
that out of our sport. It doesn't need to be called like that. Get it out.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
UAB. They lost to Alabama State at UAB. Obviously, an in-state school. Jelly Walker quote tweeted this, Jim, and was like, "Who is on this team?" Like basically
Oh
calling it
boy.
out. Uh, that's not a good loss. Alabama State, okay, scrappy for a SWAC team. UAB should be much better than that. Tough loss.
Yeah, this roster's not like hideous.
I think so
Chance
either.
Westry's playing like the former top 50 recruit that he was. He's getting healthy. Jacob Meyer was at DePaul. He's useful. Kyron Lindsey's been at Georgia and Murray State. He's useful, but there is not much cohesion here. They granted had some like pretty hideous 3-point splits in this game. They were 2 for 20 in the loss to Alabama
It's
State,
bad.
but you should still probably find a way to win that game. They lost by 25 at NC State. This is not your normal Andy Kennedy UAB team.
Shout out Asjon Anderson, former Queens transfer to Alabama State, 20 points in that game. Good job.
Yeah, I thought
There's
he was
no
going to be
other
good at Queens.
no other podcast will mention Asjon Anderson. So there you go.
Yeah.
Finally, Gardner Webb. They dropped a non D1 game to North Greenville. Gardner Webb is really bad. Really bad. They flipped their roster. There's no Tim Kraft there anymore. It's Jeremy Luther, his former assistant. They're bad.
They feel like the kind of team that you just maybe put down into the bottom 10 in the country and let them make their way down there analytically because they didn't drop because of this result because it's non D1. But I think they're worse than 322nd. I'll just say that.
Agreed. Okay. That's what we've saw. Now, we're heading over to three-man thoughts. Before we do, a shout out to our wonderful sponsors, Home Field Apparel. Home Field Apparel makes the best clothing on earth. That's a pretty good vote of confidence from me. But they do make the comfiest t-shirts and sweatshirts and hoodies. And heck, they're making jackets now and hats, and they've really expanded their apparel into other types, we'll say. They started off as a t-shirt company, man. I think they were our sponsor when they just did t-shirts before. They've been our sponsor for a long time. We love Home Field Apparel. You've probably heard of them by now. They have over 100 schools to choose from and just a ton of designs for each school. The Mizzou gear is awesome. I have probably every single piece of Mizzou gear on Home Field Apparel's website. I'm wearing a Missouri hoodie right now. I'm never not wearing Home Field. It's really kind of ridiculous. My closet is stocked. Check out their new, what are they called? Sporting jackets, I think, Jim. They're coming out with a bunch of schools. They look awesome. I really want to purchase one, even though I already have a Mizzou jacket from Home Field. I have a problem, and the name is Home Field. Go to homefieldapparel.com today. Shop your school. Promo code 3MW should get you, I think it's 10 to 15% off. Really got to verify that before I do these ad reads. But it's Home Field. Wear one for the team. Okay. Three-man thoughts, Jim. Do you want to start us off with your first thought? We have three.
I'd love to.
We'll ping pong back
I'd love
and forth
to.
here. Okay.
We've kind of half mentioned both these or two guys as part of this, but I just want to say that the National Player of the Year candidates are playing like National Players of the Year. It's been really cool to have the headliners in the sport, particularly returners and JT Toppin and Braden Smith, just be incredible on big stages. Toppin was so good, and Cam Boozer's been so good that Braden Smith fell to like the fourth or fifth favorite in the betting before then he went and had 29 points, 4 assists on national TV and a win at Alabama. And he's probably going to jump back up to favorite. I haven't looked at the new odds this morning, but then we mentioned JT Toppin's incredible stat line. He missed a game and is still fourth in the Ken Pom Player of the Year. I think once he, has played 90% of games the way everybody else has, he'll probably be right up at number one or number two. Smith is second. Cam Boozer's been like a near triple double every time he steps on the court. It's just awesome to have that level of player atop the leaderboard. And then you've got returners like Emmanuel Sharp is sixth, and he's got the redemption story after the final possession in the national title game. Zuby Ejiofor, a known name in college, is ninth. Graham Ike sitting 10th, a long-time college basketball player dating back to his Wyoming days. Josh Hubbard up there at third. He's going to take 1,000,000 shots for Mississippi State this year. And then, Kai, a couple surprising ones. Keechon Hall is at fifth.
Okay.
He's averaging like 27 a game for Auburn. The man likes to shoot, and they love to play up tempo. Caleb Wilson and Nate Ament, two freshmen also in the top 10 there. Surprising to not see it be Debansa or Darren Peterson. Obviously, Peterson missed a game. That contributes to that. He was in the top 10 before that, before missing a game. But we've got incredible freshmen and incredible returners, and the top talent in the sport is as good as it's ever been, Kai. It's fun to have that be a part of it.
Yeah, it's a great year. And it's also great, Jim, that we have this much talent and the COVID year is done pretty much. And
Yeah.
we still have a bunch of talent. The freshman class is really spectacular. The international guys coming in, a lot of them are very, very good. We've talked about this a million times, but the talent in college basketball is strong. NIL certainly helps. Guys are sticking around.
Yep. Yes, indeedy. But yeah, that's really it. I just like the race is very on. And it's only been 10 days in the season. Certainly no favorite has emerged, but I think that top three, Boozer, Smith, Toppin, is going to maybe separate themselves from the pack
Mhm.
and continue to be like just truly elite consensus first team All Americans. I think all three of you, me, Matt had that trio on our first team All Americans, and that's probably where they'll finish too.
I agree. Okay, Jim, I'll take it. I'm going to start off with the I smell blood list. These are teams that might be really bad. Now, these are overreactions, of course. We're not that far into the season. It's 3 games, 2 games for some teams, but I might be calling my shot a little bit. I smell blood. These teams are going to keep falling down the rankings. I picked out 5 teams here, and I'm mentioning one at the very end because I'm skeptical. Fordham. We're going to start with the Rams. You lost to NJIT. You got smoked by NJIT. You beat Wagner by 2, who has a new coach as of like 2 weeks ago. I had high hopes for Mac Peo taking over there, but it's DeJour Reeves, it's Tariq Nutter, who hasn't done anything, and it's not much else. The Fordham Rams, Jim, so far are not very good. I know shooting splits, but they can't shoot.
Yeah, there was also like the weird first half line movement in their game
Weird.
against NJIT that felt
Weird.
point shavy, which is very concerning. Yeah, you looked at this roster preseason, you're like, all right, it's maybe a little better than a typical Fordham roster, but that has not really come to fruition. The performances have been bad. They play Iona, who's been kind of like a banshee out of the gates, and somebody you'll talk about in one of your other thoughts
Mhm.
tonight, Friday night. So that's an interesting test where it's either by regression, by low on regression with Fordham, or just let the good team keep being good and the bad team keep being bad.
Well, it'll be interesting to see. UMass Lowell. Yeah, they lost to UConn by 63. They lost to New Haven, giving New Haven their first D1 win. They lost to Columbia yesterday by 14. They pushed the spread. Pat Duquette flipped his entire roster, and yeah, there's going to be growing pains, but it really is almost shocking to see them so low, so bad, because they have been a really good program for the last couple of years. Credit to Duquette, he just relies so much on development, and there's none of that this year on their roster.
Yeah, John Fendler said in the Discord, like cited the amount of multi-year, like 3, 4, 5 year contributors in the program that they lost all at once, and it has really come back to bite them. And Kai, you know what they also have?
What?
Residual Caleb Murphy stink.
Yeah, he left it over after he left.
Radioactive toxic waste still sitting in that area of that program. But yeah, it's been brutal to watch. I know some of the UConn fans that um, saw them play UMass Lowell were like, I've never seen a team quit like Lowell did defensively. I mean, they were just giving up a point every single time. Do you know what that game started? I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Out of the gates, UConn got up 53-7.
I was not
So
aware.
like the Ken Palm game flow page, it says 53-7 run from the start of the game to halfway through or over halfway through the first half.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
worse than I thought.
Yeah,
Way to
37-2 at
battle
one
though the
point.
rest of the game. Way to battle. Only lost by
Yeah.
63. Nice. It's like a women's UConn score. Okay, Xavier. Xavier is bad, you guys. They're 103rd right now in KenPom. This team has never finished outside the top 100 in KenPom. Remember, looked at this in the offseason. There's not many teams that can claim that over the last 30 years in KenPom. Xavier's one of them. They're going to break that streak this year. Like I said, they beat Marist by 6. They beat Lemoyne by 5. They got killed by Santa Clara. They play Iowa tonight. I don't think it's going to go very well. It's just a mid-major roster, man. I mean, Pitino did nothing significant in the portal, and they lost arguably their best portal guy, Pizzato, from Evansville to injury.
Yeah, I think Will on our other show or on my other show, Stats by Will and Jim Will Warren said that Xavier is it's like Duke, Kentucky, and like two or other programs besides Xavier that has not finished outside the top 100. But this team is like put the clothespin on your nose. It's really bad. It's not even like a total 3 point regression reasoning. I fear that the bottom, we have not seen the bottom with Xavier at this point.
It could be bad. Hey,
I mean, they've played two bye
200?
games and they're 349th in 2 point percentage. And they're
I
286th in 2 point percentage defense, like a negative 20% difference on 2 point percentage. That's more sustainable than like 3 point crazy splits. They're dead even with their opponents in 3 point splits, and they're an embarrassment so far. It could get disgusting in Cincy.
I was gonna make fun of All Right, but he's shooting 55% from three. So I mean, it's not necessarily his problem, but he was horrible against Santa Clara. Okay, Xavier, man, tough year for them. Woof. Boston College, kind of evergreen here, but lost to FAU, lost to Central Connecticut. At least they smoked Citadel. I'll skip over them because it's not like a huge shock there.
They were down like 16-9 to Citadel early. And
Okay,
Matt
Boston
said they were
College.
better than we think.
Yeah, well, Matt was
Not
wrong.
that bad on the
Obviously,
ACC preview.
obviously Matt was wrong. He's not here. He
Matt,
can't
you're
defend
not here,
himself.
so we're gonna throw punches.
That's
Yeah.
right. Loyola Chicago though deserves to be on this list. What is going on with the Ramblers? A team that many thought, excuse me, would compete for an A10 title this year. You beat Cleveland State by 3, who has a new coach, turned over the roster. You lost to Mercyhurst at home. Mercyhurst lost to Canisius. Canisius is a bad team. Mercyhurst is not a great team. And then you just lost to North Texas in a close game. That's actually pretty respectable. Still lost. And then you got smacked by Wichita State. Absolutely just smacked last night. I don't know what's happening, Jim. It feels like Valentine's first year when they went into the A10. They finished like 237th. It's going to be one of those years. Well, okay. I won't overreact, but it feels like it right now.
Free
They're free
falling.
falling.
This team is just plummeting. They're already down like 60 spots in Ken Palm from where they started.
Mm-hmm.
Could argue maybe it deserves to be more. And again, like it's not total 3-point shooting splits. Yes, opponents are making 40% from three and 80% from the line. Not great. But they're shooting 45% from two, and they haven't played a top 75 team. They've played two teams outside the top 250. You got to be better than that. Miles Rubin should be hopefully better as a finisher, but like their guards can't score inside. I know Matt called out Justin Moore last week on our pod. He's shooting 33% inside the arc. That's an issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, some of like the freshmen, the transfer additions, Ola Joseph, Dotson, Chuck Love, Dale Tavares, they've been okay, but there's something not working with this team. There's no connectivity, not a lot of spirit, not a lot of fight. They take some bad shots. I'm concerned. There's another one where it could really kind of start toilet bowl swirling down the drain.
I smell blood, Jim. Hey, one other honorable mention team. Oregon is 3-0. Oregon is 0-3 against the spread, and they just have not looked good past Biddle and Shellstad. They're not deep. I don't think they're going to do very well this season in the Big Ten. I'm leaning no tournament for the Ducks right now.
Yeah, and they got Shellstead back earlier than they expected, and granted, maybe a little rusty because he had the injury, but yeah, 22 points, 8 assists, no turnovers, and they still never had a real prayer to cover against South Dakota State. It's so limited beyond him. I mean, Wei Lin, the Chinese guy, is horrible. He's 1 of 17 from the floor, Kai.
Good
That's
example
so
of
bad.
hyped guy, not actually good.
Yeah, and Kwame Evans and Sean Stewart continue to be more like theoretical than
Yeah,
actual
that's unfortunate.
basketball players, and their wing additions, Pryor,
He
Simpkins.
missed last game prior, I know, but
Yeah,
still,
but he's like not been good. Des Lindsey's not been good. Like that was a glaring hole looking at the roster preseason, and it remains one.
it does. Okay, that was my I Smell Blood list. Jim, back to you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna sort of piggyback you, Kai, because the first thought I put in like 2 days ago was who is the worst Power Five team? And this is partially a hat tip to someone like Seton Hall, who's been, I think, better than people have expected. Rutgers, it's been okay. They blow out your Rider boys. People loved your Rider rant last week.
Yeah,
They at least look competent. Battleau in specific looks like a real player for them, the international Romanian. The dregs of the Big 12 look okay. Arizona State's all right, and Colorado's a little bit concerning. But I sort of think the worst P5 team might be Georgia Tech.
wow.
They needed overtime to beat Maryland Eastern Shore, have not been sharp at all. Their guards stink. Xavier is another real possibility. Kai, you mentioned how bad they've been. Both those teams are like 15-point favor or underdogs tonight. Xavier's going to Iowa. Georgia Tech's taking on Georgia, who has just completely
Obliterated
dismantled.
people.
Yeah. So that's another one where like, do you just assume Georgia's going to win by 40, or is there some like regression back towards the mean for both teams? We'll find out. DePaul and Boston College definitely in this conversation considering the losses they had, but there isn't like the standout, oh my God, Louisville terrible
No,
or
yeah,
Georgetown the year they were hideous or DePaul when they won 3 games. There's kind of a lesser race to the bottom right now, which is maybe a credit to the Power Five, but I do think some teams are going to end up
yeah.
having the Miami type debacle last year where they end up outside the top 175 in Ken Palm.
I agree. And the candidates you've named, Jim, I think are good candidates. It would not shock me to see Xavier fall out of the top 150, flirt with 200. I hate to say it. It seems unfathomable, but we're almost there. And DePaul really has not looked very good. Yeah.
No, especially if they continue to have injuries, they have no depth. Just kind of like picking around the other ones in that vicinity. Boston College is in that area. Colorado, as mentioned,
Yeah.
not been good
They're
in
not
their
good.
opening 2 games.
No.
They host Providence tonight, Friday. We'll find out. Maybe that's Kim English coaching for his new job in Buffalo or in
Uh,
Boulder, considering he used
huh.
to be there.
Yeah.
He used to be an assistant.
What's a better
Um,
job? Probably
well, I think
Providence.
Providence is
Yeah.
better. It's just I don't know if Providence wants him.
Boulder's really nice. I've never been, but it looks nice.
Yep. Utah, South Carolina definitely have not been sharp either early in the season,
Hmm.
but we'll keep an eye on this because I think at least 2 to 3 teams will fully bottom out.
Agreed. Agreed. Okay. My next thought: first year coach, super early check in, checking in on 5 coaches who are brand new. Dan Gerio. Jim mentioned briefly Iona. Very good start. 2-0. Looked really comfortable over Hofstra and Kansas City. They play a fun up and down style. They're scoring a ton of points. He really found some diamonds in the rough in the portal. CJ Anthony didn't play at Cincinnati. He's been excellent for them. Keyshawn Williams has scored a lot of points at NIU. He's been hurt a lot. He had a key role for Colorado State last year. He's been great. And then Akametu, transferred from, I think, Santa Clara, has been one of their best players. Again, another guy didn't really play very much in his prior stop. I'm bullish on the Gales. I picked them to win the Metro Atlantic bravely, and I'm liking the early returns. Again, shooting splits are extreme right now, but they're a fun team.
Yeah, they got Lamine Sabali, younger
Sabali
brother
from
of the
Lamar, yeah.
WNBA's Satu Sabali
Hmm.
Kai. So gotta give a shout out there. Yeah, they look really good. It's the shooting splits worth mentioning. I bet on UMKC in that game, and it was tough to have your team shoot 16% from three while the opponent shoots 54%. That one hurt.
Yeah,
Flip that, and it would have been an easy win. But yeah, I think they're right up there in the MAC. Obviously, Siena has looked pretty
really
darn
good.
good
Yep.
early in the season. Dropped one at St. Bonaventure, but their D2 transfers have delivered to complement the returning core. And then Marist is pretty solid. They dispatched Dartmouth on the road by 20 and nearly beat Xavier. So,
Hmm.
like, is this the year John Dunn finally wins a regular season title? I don't think he ever has.
Yeah, I don't think he has either. No,
Yeah.
even at St. Peter's. Yeah. Zach Chu, Radford, took down a scrappy Western Illinois team. Western Illinois has been a little scrappy. They covered against UNC and played them pretty close for a while. The jury's still a little bit out on Chu and Radford, and we hope his dad's business situation doesn't affect things in the NIL world. You can Google that if you want, Zach Chu's dad. Um, so TBD still on Radford. Really talented, but jury's still out.
Yeah, they don't give me this like the roster wasn't overly far off of High Points, I
I
think,
agree.
but I don't get the same like High Point just looks unbelievable when
Yeah,
I watch them play, and I don't quite get the same sense from Radford.
that's a good transition into Flynn Clayman for High Point. Yeah, they haven't skipped a beat since Alan Huss left. They're 2-0 against D1 competition. They beat Furman by 26. They beat Jacksonville by 21. Neither of those teams are bad, and they have just so much talent, especially for the Big South. They look like they're going to run through the conference once again. I think they're top 80 right now in Ken Pom.
Yeah, I said I think on Stats by Will and Jim that I think they're the best like one bid league team this year.
Could be, yeah,
Like MVC's got a couple like Liberty's really good in the CUSA.
yeah, Liberty.
Missouri Valley's got a couple teams up there as well, but they're ridiculous. They're loaded. They're deep. They've got a bunch of down transfer talent. They've got some guy like Rob Martin looks
Yeah, stud.
unbelievable coming from the OVC. Now, Kai, we've said it like 5 times already on the show. Friday night, a good team versus a team that's played below its level. High Point versus UAB.
Yeah,
my numbers say like, hey, you should back UAB here, but I'm like, I think I just want to let High Point be awesome.
I passed on the number, Jim. I passed. I
Yep.
said no thanks. I don't want to find
Yep.
out.
Smart
Uh,
man.
Luke Laux from Florida State. Watch out for Florida State, man. They are way better than I expected through the early going. Beat Alcorn by 32, beat Bama State by 37. That's the same Bama State team that just beat UAB, by the way. And they hung to the wire against Florida. They're super up tempo. Again, it's a fun style. And our boy, Robert McCray the fifth, former Jacksonville A-Sun tournament hero, is balling right now. Florida State, are outpacing my expectations heading into the year.
Yeah, they've got a little more, I think, positional size like than people expect because they don't have like a true center. But Robert McClay is 6'4" at point guard. Lejay Jones, Chauncey Wiggins playing the four, 6'7", 6'10". They're athletic. They can shoot. And against Florida, you just kind of kept waiting for the Gators to pull away, and they had a big run in the second half, 14-2 to increase it to a 9-point lead. And FSU just kind of punched right back, cut it down to 1 point with a minute and a half remaining, got a ton of stops down the stretch against the Florida team that admittedly can't hit water if it fell out of a boat right
Yeah.
now. But FSU looks good to go along with some of the other ACC resurgent teams. It's nice to see because they needed it. They needed the infusion of new life. The Leonard Hamilton era just kind of went out with a whimper.
To your point, Florida 21% right now from three. That's not very good. 345th in the country. Finally, Alex Jensen at Utah. It's been a little shaky start. They're 3-0, but they beat San Jose State by 9. Weaver State took them to overtime. Beat Holy Cross by 18. They're 0-3 against the spread, like their former Pac-12 brethren, the Oregon Ducks. Not as good as Florida State right now, Jim.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think the roster's concerningly bad.
Yes,
Like your top two
especially
usage
without
players are mid-major scoring guards, Don McHenry and Terrence Brown, and that concerns me.
who was the guy that got hurt.
Uh,
Dawes? No.
no, Dawes is there. Is it
Pre-
Babacar Faye?
Faye. Faye was the guy.
Yeah,
He was expected to be a big piece for them. They lost him before the season, unfortunately.
yeah. Dawes has been a monster. They need
He
to
is
feed
good.
him more.
Dawes is good.
Yeah. He should
Uh,
not have a lower than 20% usage rate. Stop hogging the ball, Terrence Brown. Pass it to your
he
teammates. Same
can't.
with you, Don McHenry.
He can't. They can't. That's who they are.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, Passing it back to you, Jim.
All right, yeah, Kai, my last thought, last week I kind of called out the Sun Belt for a poor start, particularly in the Max Sun Belt Challenge. I'm got my eye on the SoCon because it hasn't been good either, and it's a very fun league, one near and dear to my heart, a lot of skill, but they've definitely been overwhelmed by athleticism early in the year. Furman's rolling out a freshman point guard that experiment hasn't gone very well, a program that's heavily reliant on continuity and internal development. Chattanooga took that insane back-to-back trip to the West Coast where they played St. Mary's and then a night later played UNLV in Vegas. Got smashed in both of those games. Samford hasn't looked overly impressive to me. UNC Greensboro's way down. VMI battled with Mizzou until they didn't and lost by 30. Like your best teams so far have maybe been Mercer and ETSU, which doesn't feel like it's a little bit damning with faint praise for this conference because neither of those teams have been like rock stars. ETSU lost to Presbyterian. I'm not going to brag about that. Mercer competed at Tennessee, smacked Lipscomb, and Baraka Okoji, the former Memphis and George Mason guard, has looked like the real deal.
Mhm.
But I'm waiting to see, Kai, if this is just going to end up being the Furman Chattanooga cream rises to the top type of thing after they played tough schedules, but I haven't seen encouraging signs from either of them.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough. Their conference rating is the lowest since 23. I think it's the second lowest since 18. It's a lower conference rank than normal for the SoCon. I can think of the top of my head a couple of non-con issues last year, like Chattanooga got smacked by USC early, ended up being really good and won the NIT. But concerning they are lesser teams are competing with them, we'll say, with this league. Like you said, Presbyterian taking out ETSU. It's down league overall right now. UNC Greensboro, probably the most surprising. I know they've played two really good teams, but they also lost to Elon. They do not look like a typical UNCG team.
They're terrible. They don't have SoCon level talent. They might not have like, I don't know, MEAC level talent. It's
It's
they've dipped way down. Didn't do that well in the portal. Didn't retain anybody. I fear for them. But okay, so that's two mid-major league. Maybe I'll be a positive, optimistic guy about
Yeah,
a different mid-major league next week, Kai.
yeah. Okay, my last thought: Kim Pom movers. Kim Pom, if you're not aware, he's moving teams aggressively this season, way more than usual. So, meaning he's overreacting or maybe properly reacting to results. Usually, it took a while. His preseason ratings would kind of be sticky, and it would take a while for teams to move to their, we'll say, proper place eventually. Right now, he's moving them quick. So here are the biggest risers and fallers. We'll see if he's right early on or overreaction. As of last night, these were the biggest risers and fallers. So biggest risers. No surprise, UT Martin is the biggest riser in KenPom right now. 96 spots they're up after 3 games. That's insane. 2 outright wins will do that for you. CUF Austin, plus 91 spots. A team that I was a lot higher on in preseason, so this disappoints me. My value's gone on the Lumberjacks. UT Rio Grande Valley, Khalil Fennell continues to prove that he is an excellent coach. They're up 79 spots. Buffalo, who we discussed in this podcast, is up 75 spots. They look way more competent than a bottom 50 team that they have been under Halkovich thus far. And then finally, Bowling Green, up 64 spots after just eviscerating Texas State by 40 in the opening game.
Yeah, Bowling Green is really good.
Yeah,
I'm curious if they're going to end up getting closer to the Akrons and Miami of Ohio's at the top of that league, and maybe even Kent State. I guess they're right there analytically right now, trailing Akron by a margin, but they've got some real talent. Brought in some transfers to complement what they already brought back. I mean, Justin Thomas, Florida State, Javon Ruffin, Colorado. This D2 transfer, Troy Glover, has given them a real rim presence, which I think they sort of needed. Todd Simon's had some really good teams at Southern Utah, and it seems like maybe he's produced one here. Yeah, really impressive mid-major early weeks for the mid-majors. I also think Fennell is like do a better job. It's so hard to win at that school,
so
and
hard.
he's
Yes.
made them very competent despite losing a couple key pieces this offseason.
A lot. Yeah, they did. They lost like 5 double-digit scorers. Crazy. Biggest fallers. Brown has fallen 103 spots. That's a ton. They've also had a couple starters out, so maybe an asterisk next to Brown, Jim.
Yeah, Kyle, they buy low if they can get Landon Lewis back. He might be back soon, and then Alex Lesbert, the
Yeah,
shooter, might be out a couple more weeks. But
Landon Lewis, their
um,
best player. That's
yeah,
that's key.
I will be keeping my eye on the Brown Bears despite them being very bad in their last effort out.
Fordham has dropped 97 spots. We talked about them at nauseum. Little Rock has dropped 79 spots. They have gotten just tortured against teams this year. Milwaukee crushed them. Of course, Marquette crushed them. Not a surprise. Unfortunately, they lost KK Robinson for the year, and that just kind of blew up what should have been one of the better mid majors in the country.
Yeah. And his younger brother, his freshman
And his
brother,
younger
also
brother.
got hurt. They went from three Robinsons to one.
Yeah, they have one Robinson left on the team. UTSA is down 78 spots. That surprised me. I have not been paying attention to them. They just lost a close one to Texas State.
Close-ish. I don't know. It was a pick'em game lost by double digits. They
Oh,
got
doubles.
smacked at home by SIU Edwardsville. That was the
That'll
one that
do it.
was like,
That'll do
yeah,
it.
lost by nearly 20 points to a team that also lost quite a bit. I mean, they look like the worst team in the American, and it might not be close. I think I picked Temple below them in the preseason, and Temple's been way, way better than UTSA has.
Finally, CSUN, our boy Andy Newman. They're down 69 spots. They got crushed by 30 to Northern Iowa. They got crushed by 22 to North Dakota State. And they snuck by North Dakota on the road. Yeah, they're not as good as last year, Jim, but I think they'll kind of figure it out and be scrappy.
I sort of do too. They've got some talent. O'Garo, Larry Hughes is a nice player. Josiah
Mm.
Davis. Can they get Marcus Adams to just come back from Arizona
I
State? He's
know.
not playing there. Like, what's the
Is he not
point?
even
I'm
playing
sure
for them?
he's barely playing. He played 12 minutes in each of their first two games.
Man,
It's like just go back to CSUN and be a 35-minute a game, 20-point scorer.
yeah.
I know they're not. It's a different probably money situation, but that was your fit, Marcus. That was your fit.
Okay. That's biggest risers and fallers. 3 games into the season. It won't change. It'll be that way forever. Okay.
Yeah, Kai, next time you should do efficiency margin so we can see the power conference teams that have
Yes,
moved up and down.
you're right.
That,
Yeah,
that probably would have been like our seventh straight section making fun of Xavier, though.
yeah, that's definitely true. Okay, real quick, some game previews. Again, we will have our best bet show tomorrow, Saturday at 10 a.m. Central, where we will discuss the entire slate basically on Saturday. But for this podcast, we'll do some light previews here. Just talk about a couple quick games. Arizona and UCLA is tonight. Not much shelf life on this one, but we want to touch on it. It's in LA at the Intuit Dome for whatever reason. Uh, Arizona, Jim, line wise, I lean towards UCLA just because of the number. However, the size of Arizona makes me very nervous against the UCLA team that is very thin up front and not as physical as the Wildcats, who looked wildly impressive in their first game against Florida this season.
Yeah, I'm like gesturing wildly at whatever the hell UCLA has been so far this season and saying, like,
Yeah.
gosh, that sort of makes sense why Arizona's taking money and people are betting that to up over a possession.
Mhm.
Yeah, it should be an onslaught inside. And Xavier Booker's stats on paper look really good. He's blocking a ton of shots, but he's not really rebounding the ball that well. That's kind of fallen on Bilodeau, and he hasn't been able to control that. Jamerson, I still think, is the guy that uh, Cronin may end up preferring in the paint, but their hope here is to force Arizona to play in the half court. Like Florida certainly did not do that. Florida's like, yes, we'll run in a track meet with you. Transition game was huge there. Just can you keep Arizona out of the lane? The shooting, they're 25th in the country in 3-point percentage, but 357th in attempt rate. Like they only took 5 against Florida. There's not a ton of shooting on that Arizona team. So if you can force them to be in the half court, force them to go over the top and beat you that way, then UCLA's got a little bit of a chance. It's just strange because Donovan Dent is much better in the open floor and telling him to like slow the game down and be Tiger Campbell and crawl it up is sort of neutering his game,
Mhm.
but that's what you have to do to compete with Arizona. I don't know. Yeah, my guess would be Arizona wins by like 11.
I lean that way too, Jim, against my number. Dent, I assume, is playing. He missed the West Georgia game. He is
Yep,
obviously
he's
important.
officially in.
Yeah.
Yep.
UCLA's best hope, besides slowing it down, is Dent and Tyler Bilodeau going nuclear. I just think Arizona's pretty versatile up front, man. Like, I think Koa Pete can kind of just like hang with Bilodeau on the perimeter. So I don't know. I don't see a good matchup here for
Yep.
UCLA. Okay, BYU and UConn tips off on Saturday. Awesome game. It's in Boston. Boston. Matt's not here to do his Boston accent / Stanford
Boston.
accent. Um,
Stanford.
BYU to me hasn't been that impressive. Like, I was not impressed by their Villanova game at all. They were down to Delaware at half. That's not good. They were like 30-point favorites. Kennard Davis now is probably out for this game. Now, UConn hasn't been crazy impressive, but they just got Terrace Reed back, one of their best players. I don't think Braylon Mullins is back quite yet. I think UConn's going to win this game, and it might be convincing.
Yeah, Reed's gonna probably be a monster in this one. Kevin Cade is good, but they don't like play him. He plays like half the game, and they go with him Boop, and he's not the same caliber player. This is the DeBansa homecoming. That's why they're playing all the way over in Boston. But well, I bet DeBansa shoots like 12 free throws in this game because UConn fouls a ton, and I bet he'll put his head down and try to rack up his stat line. Yeah, I think UConn is a much more complete project right now. BYU started slow last year, and they're starting a little bit slower again this year as they figure out how to piece together the DeBansa, Rob Wright, Richie Saunders triumvirate on the perimeter. Not as deep at center because last year they had Traore to complement Keba Keita, and they could just wear you down in the paint. Yeah, I think UConn's just going to be too well schooled offensively, repeatedly getting quality shots. It's going to be a very pro UConn crowd, as every East Coast game is with that fan base. So yeah, Kai, I also do lean towards UConn. My number might not end up allowing me to bet it either, but both
It
these
won't.
games, looking at it, just my brain is screaming one thing while a betting number looks at the other way.
Yeah, Kempom probably the lowest on BYU amongst everybody in the country. He's got him 18. I think most people would have him top 10 right now, but he's probably closer to being correct right now. Demery guarding Rob Wright has me intrigued. Demery's huge, physical. Rob Wright small. He's awesome. Excited to see that matchup. Okay, and then Sunday, couple barn burners. Houston taking on Auburn in Birmingham. So kind of a semi-home for Auburn. Uh, Auburn has looked better than they did in their near loss, we'll say, to Bethune-Cookman. Keyshawn Hall, top 5 KenPom player of the year right now, as Jim said. I do not expect that to continue, although he will score a lot of points. This is Auburn's first true test, and I think it's going to be a wake-up call. I think it's going to be, oh, yeah, we miss Bruce Pearl. This isn't Merrimack or Bethune-Cookman or Wofford. This is Houston, a legit title contender who is way more physical than any other team we've played, and they're grown men. I think Houston wins this one going away.
Yeah, I'm gonna if there I wish there's a line, but like Keyshawn Hall over 4.5 turnovers. I think he'll
There you go.
just repeatedly try to drive into gaps that aren't there against this Houston defense. This is a revenge game for Sharp, Tugler, and
Yeah.
Uzan, who lost to Auburn last year in the semi-home game in Houston. Yeah, I know Houston is not a finished product by any means right now. They're figuring things out with their wing rotation because Harwell hasn't quite been what they wanted, but Flemings has been great. I think you get a much better game from Milos Uzan. People have like already given up on him. Like, oh man, I guess he's going to
Really?
suck this year. Yeah, I've seen some of that
He's
chatter in the
insane.
Discord. I'm really not worried about him. He sucked to start last year, and he ended up being like a freaking star for them. So not totally worried about that. Pettiford, Hall, the gunning lefties could keep Auburn in it, but I think Houston kind of crockpots them and just over physicals them and has a little more program continuity plus that little revenge angle.
Fun fact, last year's game, 74-69 Auburn. This year's game projected, 74-69 Houston. Spooky. Ooh.
Ooh, is this still spooky season, Kai?
Crazy.
Whoa.
Some people have their Halloween decorations still up, so maybe. Finally, last game we'll touch on really quick. Florida in Miami, Florida, in Jacksonville, Florida. Yeah, the Canes and the Gators. Like we said, Florida is off to a really cold start. 21% from 3. They dropped the game to Arizona. No harm, no foul there, but they have not shot the ball well. Miami has played basically 3 cupcakes. They ran through Bethune-Cookman. Yeah, they beat them by like 40, and that team took Auburn to overtime. They beat Stetson by 40, and they beat Jacksonville by like 17. This is another example of a team that I think kind of gets a wake-up call. Miami still figuring it out, which Lucas, brand new coach, who I actually didn't include on my first-year coach check-in. They have good players, talented players, but I think Florida is going to be we are the established grown men team. We will dominate you on the glass. We will start making a 3 or 2, and we will win this game.
Yeah, I wrote this up for Baskin Review, like just a little like in the weekend watch list look ahead. Miami hasn't had to play half court offense yet. It's like they either get transition layup or both Jacksonville and Stetson played all zone. And they just like got like cutting for dunks or offensive rebounds for putbacks and layups. They haven't had to like execute against a good man to man yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Florida, while not like totally solved defensively, and their backcourt isn't like super stout compared to last year, I think Miami's gonna be like, oh my God, we're playing real size. We can't just get a layup whenever we want to. This game should be pretty up tempo. They'll get to play in transition some, but I fear for the half court execution of a Miami team that's still kind of coming together. I don't think they can go through Reneau as much here.
No.
And Donaldson is maybe not quite the guy that's going to beat Florida by himself. So I think Florida runs away in this one, Kai.
All right, same page, Jim. That's our game previews. Again, remind you one more time, live on this YouTube channel tomorrow, 10 a.m. Central on Saturday. Best Bet show. Talking the entire slate pretty much on Saturday. Let's finish up this episode by going through some reviews. We have 3. Thank you so much for leaving these reviews. 5-star, of course, on iTunes. We appreciate it. From Brew City 77, best CBB podcast. He says 3MW covers it all from the big boys to the single big leagues. Who's talking IU Indy? These guys. He says trivia time. Who has the longest winning streak in the country? As of your recording, it stands at 7 straight wins. Once you give up, it's at kenpom.com/streaks.php. And I'm guessing the answer will shock you.
All right. Who won a tournament that was not Chattanooga or Florida last year?
Uh,
Is it Nebraska? Did they win? I think
ooh,
it's Nebraska ball because they won the crown.
okay. I'm typing it in. Jim, you're correct. It's Nebraska.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Wow.
There
Hey,
we go.
nice
All
job.
right.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Nebraska's look good. Rink Mast. Stud. From
Yep.
Pat Frost 1, Aspire. Aspire for a tree. Best CBB pod provided by God. Pray. Pray hands.
Pray hands.
I will take that review. Thank you. Next review and last review. Great Husky. Operation 351 continues on. He says, my quest to visit every Division I campus to see a basketball game continues for the 11th year. That's pretty sweet, by the way. That's awesome. He says, I'm currently at 144 games, and I usually average around 12 to 14 games a year. Your podcast is the best way for us junkies like me to follow the sport. He says, however, I do have one bone to pick during the review of your All-American teams. Your omission of Alex Caraban from any sort of mention did raise my eyebrows a few inches. Fair. I actually think we picked him on an All-American team last year, Alex Caraban, I want to say. I just think UConn's too balanced. I think they're going to be top 5-ish team all season, but I don't know if Caraban will have the stats, Ball will have the stats, Reed will have the stats, Demery. They fall victim to the too balanced roster.
Yeah, if he's almost certainly going to be like third on the team in usage, maybe fourth behind Reed and Ball. Like those guys are definitely going to go take a ton of shots. He's more like the super amped up mega deluxe role player. Like if he's your third best player, your team's going to be elite. If he's your best player, first or second, like last year we saw that team had a little bit more of a flaw to it. So I think he fits better in his current role. I just don't know if that gets him to All-American status. I don't know. Terrace Reed was I think the one we mentioned for UConn as the potential All-American because he's so ridiculously productive per minute. Kai, right now he has played 42 minutes on the season. He has 39 points and 19 rebounds.
Terrace Reed.
Excuse me, 20 rebounds. Yes, in 42 minutes. So his per 40s are essentially 38 and 20.
Solid. It's not bad. It's not bad. Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay. That does it for our podcast. Thank you for joining us once again. We're back next week for another podcast, probably Friday, 7 a.m. Central, live on YouTube. If not, catch us on the podcast airwaves. Best Bet Show on Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Central. We'll see you then. Till then, enjoy college basketball. Enjoy the weekend.